show of unity outside St. Sabina Church on the south side, where just 2 days ago a gunman killed a woman as she sat in a car.
Mayor Johnson appeared with the police department. Asal Razai has more on the victim and 2 separate rewards now being offered.
A 13-month-old girl sits strapped in her car seat, crying, clutching a lollipop. Around her, inside the cushion of the seat, are shell casings. The windows of the white sedan are gone. The metal is punctured in so many places it looks like it was fed through a shredder. More than 50 bullets were fired into this car. The baby doesn't have a scratch. Her mother, 26-year-old Gabryel Ayers, is dead in the front seat. The man beside her was hit twice, but survived. And the 3 people who did this? They ran up on foot, unloaded with long guns, got back in their car, and fired even more rounds before disappearing. This wasn't a drive-by. This was an execution. In the middle of the afternoon, on a residential street, with a baby watching. So what did they want? This is DCL, Domestic Crime Ledger. Hit subscribe, drop a like. I can comment where you're watching from, because this one just happened, and it's far from over. Gabryel Ayers was 26 years old. Friends called her Gabby. She worked as a hairstylist on Chicago's South Side, building her client base one appointment at a time. She was also training to become a letter carrier. Steady work, benefits, a future she could count on. But more than anything, she was a mother. Her daughter, just over a year old, was her world. People who knew Gabby said she was sweet, loving, and completely devoted to that little girl. She wasn't caught up in anything. She was trying to build something. On Wednesday, February 4th, 2026, at around 1:25 in the afternoon, Gabby was riding in the passenger seat of a white Chevrolet sedan. Her boyfriend, 27-year-old Devin Draper, was driving. Their daughter was strapped into her car seat in the back. They were in Auburn Gresham, a neighborhood on the south side where Gabby had lived her whole life. It's a place where people know each other, where churches anchor the blocks, where families have deep roots. It's also a place where violence can erupt without warning. But this was the middle of the day, a Wednesday afternoon, traffic moving, people out. Nothing about the moment felt dangerous. They were near 79th and May Street, just over a block from St. Sabina Church. The car slowed near a stop sign. That's when everything changed. Who was following them? Why were they being hunted? Did Devin know something? Did Gabby? Or were they simply in the wrong car at the wrong time? The answers to those questions are still unclear. What is clear is this. Someone had been tracking that white sedan. Someone had made a decision, and when the car slowed down, 3 men got out of a red vehicle and walked toward them with long guns. But someone had been watching them, and they weren't coming to talk. Devin Draper was behind the wheel. 27 years old, he was Gabby's boyfriend and the father of the baby in the back seat. He had no idea what was about to happen. A red SUV, later identified as an Alfa Romeo, had been following them. It pulled up close. Then it stopped. 3 men got out. All of them wore masks. All of them carried long guns. They didn't shout. They didn't hesitate. They just started firing. The sound was deafening. Witnesses later said it sounded like automatic weapons, rapid, relentless, echoing off the buildings. The men approached the white sedan on foot, firing from multiple angles. They weren't aiming at the tires or the engine. They were aiming at the people inside. Gabby was hit multiple times. Devin was shot twice, once in the arm, once in the buttocks. The baby, somehow, was untouched. The car lurched forward and crashed into a nearby van. The driver of the van wasn't hurt and refused medical treatment at the scene. But the shooting didn't stop. After the first wave of gunfire, the 3 men ran back toward the red Alfa Romeo. And as they were getting in, they fired again. More rounds. More bullets tearing through the already destroyed sedan. In total, more than 50 shots were fired. People nearby dove for cover. Some were inside the St. Sabina Church food pantry, just around the corner. They hid in a back room, listening to the gunfire, waiting for it to stop. When it finally did, they came out. They saw the wreckage, the shattered glass, the blood. The young man and woman slumped in the front seats, and in the back, crying and terrified, a baby girl still strapped into her car seat. The witnesses pulled her out and handed her to a police officer who had just arrived. The officer held the child in her patrol car, trying to calm her down while paramedics worked on the victims. Gabby was rushed to Little Company of Mary Hospital. She was in critical condition. Devin was taken to Christ Medical Center. He was stable. The baby had no visible injuries. But she had been sitting in a car seat surrounded by shell casings. Some of those casings were found inside the seat itself. But here's what investigators found that changed everything about motive. According to unconfirmed reports, Devin Draper posted his location on social media shortly before the attack. If that's true, it means the shooters didn't have to guess where he was. They just had to check his phone. Here's how it works. When you post a photo or a status update, many apps automatically tag your location. It shows up as a pin on a map. Anyone following you can see exactly where you are in real time. Most people don't think twice about it. But in neighborhoods where conflicts run deep, that little pin can become a target. Street disputes, whether they're tied to gangs, personal grudges, or something else, often play out online first. Someone posts, someone sees it, and sometimes someone decides to act. This wasn't a random shooting. The coordination, the masks, the long guns, the fact that they followed the car and waited for the right moment, all of it points to planning. This was a hunt. So the question becomes, why? Was this gang retaliation? Was Devin involved in something that put him and Gabby in danger? Or was this a personal grudge that escalated beyond control? Some people believe Devin was the target and Gabby was simply in the wrong place. Others think the attack was meant to send a message to someone else entirely. There's even speculation that it could have been a case of mistaken identity, though the level of planning makes that less likely. Police haven't confirmed a motive. They haven't named any suspects. And as of February 9, 2026, no one has been arrested. Investigators are reviewing footage from multiple cameras in the area. They have ballistics evidence. They know what the shooters look like, even with masks. They have the red Alfa Romeo on video, but without witnesses willing to come forward, the case stalls. Do you think this was gang retaliation or something more personal? Drop your theory below. But the most disturbing part wasn't the planning. It was what happened during the shooting. The 13-month-old girl was still strapped into her car seat when witnesses reached her. She was crying, terrified, but she was alive. In her hand, she held a lollipop. Around her, embedded in the fabric and foam of the car seat itself, were shell casings. Bullets had torn through the vehicle from every direction. The back window was gone. The seats were shredded. The metal frame was riddled with holes, and somehow not a single bullet touched her. Witnesses who had been hiding in the Saint. Sabina Food Pantry came out after the gunfire stopped. They saw the destruction. They saw the baby in the back, still buckled in, still crying. They carefully pulled her out and handed her to a police officer who had just arrived on scene. The officer, a woman, took the child into her patrol car and held her, trying to calm her down while the chaos continued around them. Kirk Bell, Gabby's godfather, would later ask a question that haunted everyone who heard it. What's the purpose of shooting at a car when you know there's a child in the car? It's a question without a good answer, because the shooters had to have seen her. The car wasn't tinted. The baby was visible in the back seat, and yet they fired more than 50 rounds anyway. They didn't stop. They didn't hesitate. They came back for a second round of shots even after the car had crashed. That level of violence in the presence of a child says something about how little life mattered in that moment. Gabby had spent every day trying to give her daughter a better future. She worked long hours doing hair. She was training for a stable job with the Postal Service. She loved that little girl more than anything. And in less than a minute, 3 men with masks and guns took all of that away. The baby is now being cared for by Gabby's mother. She's too young to remember what happened, but she'll grow up knowing her mother died trying to protect her. She'll grow up with the weight of a story she never asked to be part of. Alderman David Moore, who attended a vigil days later, he said it plainly. If God didn't show that he was still God by protecting that baby, I don't know what else he can show you. And while that baby was being pulled from the wreckage, Gabryel was already gone.
If he didn't show that he's still God by protecting that baby,
Amen. Yes.
I don't know what else he could show you.
Gabryel Ayers was rushed to Little Company of Mary Hospital in critical condition. She had been shot multiple times throughout her body. Despite the efforts of medical staff, she was pronounced dead. Devin Draper was taken to Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn. He had been shot twice, once in the arm and once in the buttocks. His injuries were serious, but he was listed in good condition. He survived. Back at the scene, investigators began processing what was left behind. More than 50 shell casings littered the street. Some were found inside the car. Some were even inside the baby's car seat. The white sedan looked like it had been torn apart. Every window was shattered. Bullet holes covered the doors, the roof, the trunk. Police also had access to surveillance footage from multiple buildings in the area. The cameras captured the red Alfa Romeo. They captured the 3 masked men approaching on foot. They captured the attack itself. The evidence was overwhelming, but as of now, no one has been arrested. The problem isn't a lack of evidence. It's a lack of cooperation. In neighborhoods like Auburn Gresham, people are afraid to talk. They've seen what happens to those who do. Retaliation is real. Witnesses stay silent not because they don't care, but because they're scared. Commander Andre Poston of the Chicago Police 6th District understood that. On February 7, 2026, he held an outdoor roll call at the corner of 79th and May Street, right where the shooting happened. Officers stood alongside community members and faith leaders. It was a show of solidarity, a promise that police were listening and that they needed help. "We're here for you. We're out here," Poston said. "We stand together. We continue to partner with one another. We're asking that you guys are willing to come forward and help us, give us information." Demetric Brown, a community member who lost her own adult daughter to gun violence in 2021, stood with them. "I can just relate to what this family is going through," she said, "and it just reminds me we need to get these guns off the streets."
I just can relate to what this family is going through, and it's very painful, and it just reminds me of that we need to get these guns off the street.
But words don't solve cases. Tips do, and so far, the tips haven't come. But 3 days later, something happened that forced the city to pay attention. On Friday, February 7, 2026, hundreds of people gathered at the corner of 79th and May Street. They came to remember Gabryel Ayers. They came to demand justice, and they came to say enough is enough. Father Michael Pfleger of St. Sabina Church led the prayer vigil. He was joined by Mayor Brandon Johnson, Illinois State Senator Willie Preston, and several other city officials. But the most powerful voices came from those who had lived through this kind of loss before. Pamela Bosley, co-founder of Purpose Over Pain, an organization formed by parents who have lost children to gun violence, stood in front of the crowd and said it plainly. "These are our children being killed. If you don't do anything about it, let me tell you, you're going to stand up with us here next, and this is not where you want to be." Adrienne Swanigan Williams was also there. She lost her own son, Tremaine Henderson, to gun violence in 2017. She remembered Gabby as sweet and loving, a devoted mother and a hard worker. "She loves her baby. She was a hairstylist," she said. "It's unfortunate that this happened to her. All I can do is pray for her family." Community activist Jamal Green spoke with Gabby's mother and made a commitment on the spot. He would pay for the funeral services. He would help the family in any way he could. St. Sabina Church announced a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. Cook County Crime Stoppers added another $10,000. That's $20,000 total for anyone willing to come forward. But Father Pfleger didn't just offer money, he issued a warning. Don't be silent, don't sit back, because if you do, then you are a co-conspirator to everything that they do. He also said this: think of her, think of that baby's face, think of that mother laying in that car dead, and I pray you don't sleep until you talk and tell what you know. Mayor Brandon Johnson addressed the crowd as well. This tragedy continues to tear at the thread of the soul of Chicago, he said. It's not enough to eliminate violence. We have to replace it with good-funded schools and good-paying jobs and access to health care. Senator Willie Preston called the shooters monsters and cowards. He promised they would be hunted down. Here's the question: should witnesses come forward even if it puts them at risk, or is the system failing to protect them? D, A, or B? Defend your answer. But while the community mourned, investigators were zeroing in on something the shooters didn't know they'd left behind. Within days, the surveillance footage went viral on social media, and what it showed changed everything. The video captured the entire attack from multiple angles. You can see the red Alfa Romeo following the white sedan. You can see it pull up. You can see 3 men get out, all wearing masks, all carrying long guns. They don't run. They walk calmly, like they've done this before. They approach the car from different sides. They raise their weapons, and then they open fire. The coordination is clear. This wasn't chaos. This wasn't panic. This was planned. After the first wave, they retreat to the red Alfa Romeo, and then, as they're getting in, they fire again. More rounds. More bullets into a car that's already destroyed. The body language, the timing, the weapons. All of it pointed to one thing. This was personal. Ballistics analysis revealed that the shooters used automatic weapons. Multiple calibers were recovered from the scene, meaning they weren't all using the same gun. That level of firepower, that level of coordination, it wasn't amateur. So the question becomes, why this much violence? Was this deep personal hatred? Was someone sending a message? And if so, to who? Let's go back to what we know. Devin Draper reportedly posted his location on social media before the shooting. That means the shooters knew where to find him. But did Devin know he was being hunted? Did he realize someone was tracking him, or did he think he was safe? And what about Gabby? Was she just in the wrong car at the wrong time, or was she involved in something that made her a target too? Police haven't said whether Devin is cooperating with the investigation. They haven't confirmed a motive. They haven't named any suspects. But the footage tells a story that words can't. 3 men, long guns, 50-plus rounds, a baby in the back seat. And they didn't stop. That's not a warning. That's an execution. So was this about Devin? Was it about Gabby? Was it about something neither of them saw coming? The truth is, we don't know yet. What we do know is that someone wanted them dead badly enough to do it in broad daylight, on a residential street, with witnesses around. That takes rage. Or it takes orders. And that's when the real question emerged. Was Gabryel Ayers murdered because of who she was, or because of who she was with? As of now, police have not confirmed a motive. They have not named any suspects. They have not made any arrests. Devin Draper survived the attack. He was released from the hospital. But publicly, he hasn't said much. Police won't confirm whether he's cooperating with the investigation or what he's told them about why this happened. That silence leaves a gap. A big one. Without Devin's account, investigators are left piecing together evidence from cameras, shell casings, and witnesses who are too afraid to talk. Meanwhile, Gabby's mother is raising her granddaughter, a 13-month-old girl who will grow up without her mother, who will one day ask questions no one should have to answer. And the 3 men who did this? They're still out there. They walked away from that scene, got into a red Alfa Romeo, and disappeared. They've been seen on video by thousands of people online. Their movements, their coordination, their weapons, all of it is documented, but they haven't been caught. Father Michael Flager said something at the vigil that stuck with a lot of people. Guns have become first lines of defense. He wasn't just talking about this case. He was talking about a pattern, a culture where disputes, personal, territorial, or otherwise, are settled with bullets before words. Auburn Gresham has seen this before. So has Englewood. So has West Garfield Park. So have dozens of other neighborhoods across Chicago. Young people are dying in broad daylight. Babies are sitting in back seats while their parents are executed. And the cycle continues because fear keeps people silent and violence keeps people armed. This isn't the first time, and unless something changes, it won't be the last. Demetric Brown, a community member who lost her own daughter to gun violence in 2021, said it clearly at the roll call. I can just relate to what this family is going through, and it just reminds me we need to get these guns off the streets. But getting guns off the streets requires more than vigils. It requires witnesses. It requires accountability. It requires systems that protect people who come forward instead of leaving them exposed. So what can we learn from this, and how do we stop the next one? Here's what we know. On February 4th, 2026, at 1:25 in the afternoon, Gabryel Ayers was shot and killed in a white sedan on the south side of Chicago. 3 masked men fired more than 50 rounds into the car. Her boyfriend, Devin Draper, was shot twice, but survived. Her 13-month-old daughter, sitting in the back seat, was not injured. Police have surveillance footage. They have ballistics evidence. They have witnesses. They have a red Alfa Romeo on camera. But they don't have arrests. Here's what we don't know. We don't know the motive. We don't know if this was gang-related, personal, or something else. We don't know if Devin is cooperating. We don't know if Gabby was the target or if she was collateral damage. And we don't know when or if the 3 shooters will be caught. The human cost is clear. Gabryel Ayers was 26 years old. She was a hairstylist building her business. She was training to become a letter carrier. She was a mother who loved her daughter more than anything. She had dreams. She had plans. She had a future. And in less than a minute, it was all taken away. Her daughter will grow up without her. She'll be raised by her grandmother. She'll carry the weight of a story she's too young to understand. The community cost is just as heavy. Another vigil, another unsolved case, another generation of children growing up surrounded by violence, learning that life is cheap and justice is slow. The systemic cost is harder to measure, but impossible to ignore. Social media has become a weapon. Posting your location can get you killed. Witness intimidation keeps people silent. Guns are easier to get than answers. So what can be done? Digital safety matters. Turn off location tags. Think before you post. And understand that what you share online can be used against you. Community intervention works. Programs that interrupt violence before it escalates have been proven to save lives. But they need funding and support. Breaking the retaliation cycle requires protection for witnesses. People won't talk if they don't feel safe. And right now, they don't. But the image that stays with you is this: a 13-month-old girl crying in her car seat, holding a lollipop, surrounded by shell casings, calling for a mother who will never come home. Gabryel Ayers was 26 years old. She was building something, and 3 men with masks and long guns decided that didn't matter. As of today, they're still out there, and until someone talks, they always will be. If this case matters to you, subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll update you the moment there's an arrest. Until then, stay safe. We'll see you in the next one.